be able to look at the problem areas and be able to minimize that. That's my goal. So I start each year my understanding is in India, your school year starts in April, which is just right now. In Ontario, we start in September. So I do up calendars for each month and try to put, and then I sit down and I put the year-long map together. And the year-long map is month out. So I want you to keep that back in mind as we go through this as well. Because once that is done, I actually have on my website templates that you can use so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They're already there. I do a staff handbook. And in the staff handbook, I have every expectation that I expect of the teachers. And number one thing is consistent, positive, friendly, welcoming behavior at all times. Anytime the kids are transitioning, I expect the teachers to be in the hallways. Anytime they're into their classrooms, I expect the teachers to be at their doorways greeting their students with no exceptions. So I have a policy, or what my expectation of the teacher behavior is, written down in this book. And what drives staff crazy, and we're a long staff meeting, and I sit down at the beginning of the year and I go through the handbook with them. They don't like it. They all say, we can read this on our own, but all of us are managing adults, and as we're managing adults, it's the very same for kids. They don't read it. They put it on the shelf. Many times we've got documents and things that it's very difficult to find the time to sit down and do things. So I go through this line by line, and what I'm hoping to do is make sure that the expectations I have of the staff are very clear, and that they're very clear what they are. And this gives us the basis when there are missteps, and we all know, as we're working with adults, there are going to be missteps. But once you've laid it all out, there's no more going to a staff meeting and announcing, I need everybody to make sure they're at their doorways, or I need everybody to be on time for yard duty, or you missed walking the kids to the buses yesterday. Whatever it is, you can go directly to that person and deal with it in a proactive way so it doesn't happen again on the first misstep. So having everybody set with the same expectations that are very consistent, I have found has been such a blessing in my career, because it sets the tone for the whole building. And I need to interrupt myself for a minute. We live very close to a train track. So if a train comes by, I'll just put my hand up like this so that you will not be able to hear me. We live that close to the train track. So if my hand goes up, it means that I'm just going to stop speaking until the train's gone by. I also wanted to mention to you that although I'm in education, my husband is in economic development, and most of these strategies I use to manage people at school level, he used to manage people in a municipality office. So a lot of these things are layout of what I expect from the students in the building. Of course, behavior and code of conduct and dress things, all those kinds of things are listed in here. But again, when there is a misstep from a student, one thing I'm very strict about, and I'll just use as an example, is if somebody gets hurt in the building, I feel very strongly that if the kids do not feel safe, we need to have the family handbook or the rules in the family handbook to fall back on. In here it says very clearly, if your child injures somebody else in the building, they're going home for 3 days. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. We need to know that when the kids are in the building, they are calm so their brains can work properly, right? And I've heard conversations, so I know that everybody understands that on this webinar, that if we don't have calm, safe schools, then the kids can't relax enough to actually be able to take in the information that they're learning. So we have to have everything calm and peaceful in the buildings. And I find by having these two handbooks that everything is laid out in a very concrete way really helps for the communication between family and home. And with the family handbook, when it just seems to minimize so many interruptions that can come in with at a school principal, with parents not understanding some of the regulations that we have at the school. So having that, and I've done it at 9 schools now, I think, and at each school it was so welcomed by parents. Now the other thing I do at the end of the handbook is this is literally from one of the handbooks I sent home in 2017. So here's the paper copy. It's got everything laid out in it. And then at the back, it has the calendar for the year, each month. And that's got everything that you probably know in your school year starting now and going through to next January. There's so much information we already have the parents need to know about when the school holidays are, when we're having meetings, when there's professional development days and the kids will not be attending school. That can all be told to the parents well in advance, and it just gets you totally organized to be able to go make sure that people are committed to the meetings you have on that calendar. Okay, I'm going to keep moving along here. Whoops. Oh. I'm not sure if you can see that clearly right now. Can you see that clearly? Whoops. Oh, Tom, I've done something. Tom? Oh, can you see that slide?
Yes, ma'am, we see.
Okay, because I've done something on my computer and I can't move it now.
Ma'am, you need to just press F5.
F5.
Yes. I don't know.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm not going to...
Function key 5, function.
Function 5. Okay, oh wait, no, just a second. Okay, I hit that, and then it comes PC screen only, duplicate or extend. I think I'll hit this one and just hope it's the right one.
You just click on the slide which you want to show. Don't go F5.
It's stuck right now.
No, you click on the slide which you want to show. Otherwise, you may continue without PPT also.
Okay, I'm so sorry. How frustrating.
Just watching on your computer. Okay.
Okay, I am going to continue because I have a lot to cover here. Okay, so, oh, that's so frustrating. Tom! I'm just getting my AV person here to see if we can get this real quick. I've got this stuck, and so I was just going to go ahead and talk, but I've got that stuck.
Ma'am, you can stop sharing and reshare it again. This will work out.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, folks. Okay.
Okay. This is the dutiful job of a husband. Okay.
That's what we did. And share.
Okay.
Okay, I somehow.
You want to go to the full screen now? So slideshow.
I'm doing that. They can see it. You can see the slide right now.
But they want to see the full screen.
Okay, so what do I do? Hit that? Oh, no, don't want to do that.
Okay, you stop sharing.
They can see both. Thank you. Okay, sorry, there we are. Okay, so bottom line is we have our goal to make sure that every single person in our school that is in our care, we want them to reach their most highly imagined dreams, right? And the way we do that, I'm going to go down here, is making sure that our staff is very happy. I feel so strongly that if our staff feels appreciated and we use the strengths of our staff to show the kids, then they'll have awesome role models for them in the building. So we've got the staff handbook. The other thing that is so essential is having in-school meetings. And by that, I would meet once a week. I would meet with all of the primary teachers. The next week I would meet with all the junior teachers. The next week I would meet with all the intermediate teachers. And this was not a staff meeting, just with the same age group teachers, and talk about blocks that we have, big boulders in front of us. The kids were having trouble with. The curriculum we're having trouble teaching. We sit literally in a circle. We start with one teacher. They bring up one issue they're having, and we discuss it as a group. We brainstorm together, it can be absolutely anything. Now, the first one of these in-school meetings you have, people are feeling very uncomfortable. By the time they leave, they will be there early at the meeting the next time, because it brings everyone together, and of course, when making sure they agree the issue and sharing resources and talking to each other. But it's a Friday, it will have, if there's any meetings that all kinds of things may come up. But if you have that in the teacher's hands, while they're planning over the weekend, as we all know, we do so much of our work when we're out getting our groceries and doing other chores because our brains are just going. It's the same for all of our staff. So I make sure they're well informed and early. So while they're doing their plan, I also do a thing called the Tuesday folder, and parents love it. It's simply a pocket folder. In the inside, one pocket says, please keep it home. The other pocket says, please return to school. So if it's a permission form because you're going to be doing a special activity, if it's you're going to be, selling a treat at recess time, whatever it is, and you need it to come back, it's in the folder, and parents have to sign it and send back to you. The handbooks, the newsletters at the beginning of the month, they all go, please keep it home. And the other thing I do with the calendars is on the newsletter, I make sure it's the 4th page so they can rip it off. And then right behind me here, I have an enlarged calendar. This one happens to be for April, but everybody is using the same information on the calendar. Everybody is well informed. So all these strategies mesh together, they weave together. For teachers that are, let's say they're struggling with someone in their classroom. In Ontario, we have a teachers union. It's Elementary Teachers of Ontario. And they sent out, it's probably 10 or 12 years ago now, they sent out a research study that they had done. And if there's a student that you're finding, it may be a communication issue. It may be that the child's very shy and doesn't want to talk to you. It may be that they're disrupting behavior. Whatever is happening with that child, if staff take 2 minutes over 10 consecutive days, the research shows that by chatting one-on-one with that student for 2 minutes, 10 consecutive days, you can change their relationship with you in 10 days. So in a 2-week span, you will have built a relationship with that child, and the behaviors cease to be when you're able to chat with them and explain why you need things to change. But I just thought that was brilliant. And again, it sounds simple. You think, oh, 2 minutes. Well, people are putting their outdoor clothing on, or they're going out, they're heading outside, or we're walking to the gym, or walking to the library. I can find 2 minutes. It is extremely challenging for a teacher to find 2 minutes a day for one student. Sounds simple, it is not. So when something like this has come up at an in-school meeting, I'll encourage that teacher to try the 2/10. And then to make sure it's happening, I check in with that teacher every 2 or 3 days, because it is really, really hard to do it for the 10 days. The switch around days that I have listed here is if you're in an elementary school up to 500 students, this is doable. Over 500, I'm not sure how you would do it. But in my cases, what I did is I made teams right from JK to grade 8. And we would have each teacher take an activity for a 30-minute block. So each class would visit 6 classrooms in the 3-hour time that we had. So it may be a math activity that you pick for that day. It could be, I always start with character counts, and I always start with virtues and things like, being generous, being kind, and activities in the classrooms to bring people together. But what these switch around days do is they let each teacher in the school, just for 30 minutes, have all the other students in the building into their classroom. So the kids get to go in the classrooms, they look around to see what's on the walls, what's happening, and their brothers and sisters might be in that classroom and they've never had a chance to walk through that door. So again, it's an activity that brings people together, and it weaves a culture of cooperation throughout your building. I've always gone in to our senior classes, our grade 6, 7s, and 8s. So we're talking 12-year-olds to 14-year-olds. And I say to them, I need you to partner up with somebody in JK to grade 1. So our 3.5 to 6-year-olds. And what happens after the first switch around day is that older student starts to watch out for that little one. So when they're getting on the bus, they're in the hallways, they're everywhere, you can feel this warmth being created within your building. I suggest that any administrator go out and buy 100 thank you cards. We have dollar stores where they're inexpensive. You can get thank you cards. And anytime you see a staff do something a little extra, make sure that you write them a thank you note and you notice it. You remember that we used to get stickers or stamps when we did well, or big red check marks on all of our work? As adults, we need that as much as the kids do. And the last thing I'd like to mention here is finding the great thing. We all have staff members that we probably wouldn't be too disappointed if they ended up transferring to another location. I don't know how to say that any more politely, but we all have staff members that we find challenging, but there's no way they would have gotten to the position they have without having some really good skills. So sometimes we need to dig deep, but when you find those positive things about your staff member that you want to grow throughout your building, make sure you're mentioning it to them. And if you can compliment adults in front of other adults, it's really beneficial for everybody. You can just see them puff up. When making sure that we're building positive relationships with the kids at a new school, not just at a new school, I have the administrative assistant make up name tags for all of us for the first week of school. And this does 2 things. They're nicely done. You can tuck them away in a nice plastic pin that goes on your shirt. And we wear them for the first week of school, just so that everybody can kind of see everybody else's names and get to know them. And I'm not talking about the classroom teachers. Of course, they get to know their kids straight away. But for everybody else to be able to use names, when we're talking about our custodians, our lunch hour people, all the other people coming into the building. And then these name tags go in a Ziploc bag. And anytime there is a supply teacher, or anytime they're going out on a field trip or leaving the building, or we have days that we invite parents in for student-led conferences, when we invite parents into assemblies, we can wear our name tags, and it just helps everybody out. Simple, can be done way before the year starts. Student-led conferences, I think a lot of you will be familiar with that. The students collect their work, and when the report cards come home, instead of sending the report card home with the child for the parent just to read, we actually invite the parents in. And the way I would set this up is our gymnasium was the only room that was big enough. Our library has never been big enough in any of the buildings I've been in. So we set up just one desk with 3 chairs around it in the gym. You'll have, at the desk with 3 chairs, you'll probably have 20 sets of that in your gymnasium or wherever you have room to. And the kids have a collection of their work in a 3-part folder. I encourage every one of my staff to keep a board in their room. One is for writing and one is for math. And each month the student needs to have a publication of it. So on the writing board, they're going to have one for September, another one they're going to staple up in October, another one, and they can pick which ones they want to put on display for others. The same with the math activity board, and they're just all, 8.5 by 11 size pieces of paper. But there's room for everybody. When it comes to student-led conference time, the kids can just take their writing down, they can take their math down. They've got at least one sample from each month. And the things that are working on, the goals they have, any special projects, they go down to the gymnasium. They all have these folders. I'm going to back up a little bit. I have 3 senior ambassadors at the door to greet the families. So we have 2 days in both report card time. So we have 2 days in February, 2 days in June where the parents are invited into the gym. They can come at any hour of the day because where most of us are working parents, we know how difficult that is. So they come to the school door. The ambassador takes them. They say their child is in grade 2 with Miss Scott. Off they go. The teacher knows they're going to have interruptions for those 2 days, so they plan their lessons accordingly. So the ambassador comes to the door. They say, Anne's mom is here to see them. She grabs her folder, she walks with the mom, they take her down to the gym. We always have tea set up and offer the parents tea or water, and we usually have cookies or some treat out for the kids to help themselves to. They go sit down and they show the parents their work and how they've been progressing and what they're working on and what they know they're really good at and what they know their goal is for the next term or what their work, where their passion is. So they have a nice little conversation. It takes 10 minutes. And the response from parents is immense because their child is talking to them about their learning instead of the parent. At that point, the student can give them their report card. They go through the report card together. And then the week after the student-led conferences, we have a parent night that if the parent wants to come in and visit the teacher, we have them in 15-minute schedules so people are waiting and they can go and visit all the teachers in the building by the family. So that is the switch around days, and the student-led conferences are huge at building the relationship between family, home, and student. We also have end-of-month assemblies where we celebrate the students. I noticed when I was looking through in India, it looks like in the mornings at most schools, you gather together to talk to the students. This one is a little more formal than that. We all gather in one room, sit down, and whatever the virtue has been for the month, or the character attribute for the month, one of the classes might put on a play, one may sing a song. There's all kinds of different activities that can happen. Again, I'm only taking the kids out of class for 15 to 20 minutes once a month. That's all it takes to bring everybody together and to celebrate each other. So I think that's really important, the end of month assemblies. The other strategy I use is a healthy school committee, and it's so simple. Now, I don't include our primary students, they're just too little, and so I say, I would like to have volunteers who are going to give up one recess per month and join me in the library wherever you can get the kids around a table, and we're going to have meetings where I would like to hear from you on if you feel safe at school, if there's enough activities for you to do at school, whatever your concerns are. Literally, they come in with their lunch bags. I have my lunch bag. We just put enough tables together so we can all get around. Same thing as in school. We start at one end of the table. Everybody has a voice at the table. We go all the way around and we ask if there's any input. I actually have a template for this, but basically, when the kids start to realize that you're going to listen to them, they're very scared to come to the first couple of meetings. But after that, they realize all you're going to do is listen. And if there are concerns that they have that can be addressed, we're going to address them before they become a problem. So that's the Healthy School Committee, and it's right on the calendar once a month right here. And all the staff know that we're going to be doing this on that day. So if they have a volleyball practice, if they have a choir practice, if they're hoping to tutor kids in math that recess, they don't touch that recess because they know the kids are going to come and meet with me. It starts off with 2 volunteers who are actually willing to give up their free time, but it usually grows. When kids start to talk about it, then they want more friends to come, and it's just the principle of the building sitting face to face with the students we're trying to serve. I'm going to give you a really little example. Soccer nets on our playground. We're at a premium. We had 2 proper soccer nets. The younger kids, the grade 4, 5s, the grade 6s, it was always being dominated by the senior students. A trip to a local sports store, and I bought 4 more nets, and we had nets out for the other classes, kept everybody busy at recess playing soccer. They loved it. They were happy. I didn't know that they were struggling and not getting their time with the nets on the playground. Simple little things like that can be solved. I had another issue where one of the brothers said that his parents were worried because the little one was afraid to go to the bathroom with all the big kids in the washroom, because we only had one washroom at the school. So I just went in and talked to the 7s and 8s, and I said, you're really big, and when little ones come into the bathroom, they're afraid to be in there with you. Can you just say, hi, are you okay today? And it completely eliminated the problem, which sounds ridiculous, but in a parent's eyes or a 6-year-old eyes who's afraid to go in because there's big kids in there, it can be a serious issue. So problem averted. Okay, let's keep. These are just pointing out to you the calendars, and I'm busy watching the time. So on this calendar, this one is showing where all the meetings on the calendar the staff have to be at. The writing is in black. So these are all the things that the staff need to know. I have a staff meeting once a month. If I can do the most communication by memo, I do. Oh, and actually, I'm going to interrupt myself. I think this is really important. I know we're living in the age of the computers, and I know that a lot of people can get online. But in the communities that I've been in, there's always been exceptions to that rule. And if there is, I believe, if there is one exception in your building that the parents are not able to get online, not able to see all this stuff, then you send a hard copy home. So I encourage all the principals that I work with to send a hard copy of the newsletters home, the handbook home, and I know most that there's a lot that are very savvy, but I've never found that you can replace a paper copy. So this is just showing, I'm going to show you very, very quickly here because I have a couple of other things I want to make sure that I mention. So these are all the things that staff have to be at, and it's really important to me that they're at every staff meeting, that there's no dentist appointments, there's no doctor's appointment. So that's why I let them know a year in advance the day and the hour that I want them for. I never have meetings longer than an hour because at 45 minutes, which you already know this because the webinars are 45 minutes, people clock out. We can only really concentrate for that first 45 minutes, right? So I'm just going to show you. So this one is all about staff. This one is all the things the students need to know. When there's a healthy school committee meeting, when there's any special activities for them, when we're going to have a family dance, when we're going to have the end of month assembly. These are all the things that the kids need to know. And then for the parents, I put all of their writing in blue. So when they look at the calendar, they know the blue writing means it's the times that I'm hoping they're going to be able to come and visit us at the school. I always have 2 activities a month the parents are invited to. They're always invited to the end of month assemblies. And then if there's not, a teacher night to interview with the parents, then we do something like a math activity night. We always have 2 opportunities. One's during the day for the end of month assemblies, but we always have at least one evening activity to bring the families in and let them see what we've got, what's happening at the school. Because if we have the support of the family with us, the students are going to succeed. They are going to be successful. And it just, I'm not even going to get to the last slide, but I just want to show you the wall behind me. I use the space on the walls as my third teacher in the room, I guess I want to say. You've got your teacher, you've got your educational assistant, and then you have your wall space. And I, for instance, I have 7 things that I want all my teachers to believe. I want them to believe that all students can succeed. I want them to believe in differentiating instruction and making sure that we're meeting the learning needs of every student in our room. I need every staff member to believe that. I need them to believe in the instructional practices and how important they are. There's just so many things available to us now that we know help our students learn. I want them to believe that they are the key to opening up the world for the students in their classroom. I want them to believe that each child has a unique learning experience. All of our kids are going to become part, I'll move back here. All the kids are going to become part of our larger community. I want them to be good, caring, compassionate community members. And fairness is not sameness. When we're dealing with the kids, there are always mitigating circumstances. So we have to treat everybody a little bit differently. And so it's of utmost importance. Kids know if anyone's being unfair immediately, but they also realize that there's some exceptionalities where students with learning difficulties may need different approaches. And I want everybody to be welcomed and understand that we're all there to support each other. So, I know that I've kept you late already. I'm just going to mention, for building with your relationship with parents, the first thing is everybody gets a family handbook. Every staff member in our school makes one positive phone call home each month for each student. And they have a checklist with all the kids' names on. They have September to June, and they check off when they've done their positive phone call. Agendas go home. We send home the newsletters. We have the calendar. They expect the folders, and then we have the bi-monthly invitations to come to school. So Dr. Bektar, that sums things up for me. If you have any questions for me, there's my my details. On the website at www.margdodds.com, there are templates for both handbooks and for the year-long calendar. Now, I don't have July and August on my year-long calendar, but they are the templates that you can go in and just simply, it's under Canva is the engine that I use, but they're completely free, and you can go on and just adjust the calendar to suit your school. And the handbooks are all there. There's a lot of things that would, there's some things that would need to be tweaked, but I think the basic outline is something that we can all use, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I really appreciate your time this evening, and I know that was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. This is usually a one-day workshop where you go home with your 2 handbooks and you go home with your calendar and any of the posters I have up on the walls. So please don't hesitate to get a hold of me if I can be of any more service or help to you, and I really appreciate your time today.
Please, madam, website name replay, please.
It is www.margdodds, margdodds.com. And you just go to resources, and under resources templates, and it's all there for you to use. Help yourself, and I really hope it is helpful to you, and then you can use it, and we'll help the world one child at a time.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very informative and illustrative lecture on the topic, building relationships for a thriving school. After such a wonderful keynote speech, now I would like to invite participants, their questions and doubts, if any. Please. Once again, I request participants, if you have any question or doubt, please ask.
Mirza, is there a question or no?
Ma'am, there is one question in the chat box.
Oh, sorry. Here we are. With whom is it important to have the best relationship? Oh, only one. If I had to pick one, I would say your staff, because the staff are the frontline workers with our students, and they need to be positive, compassionate, gentle souls dealing with all those students. And if they're excellent role models for their students, kids imitate us all the time, right? I mean, if I lose an earring, a student will tell me coming down the hall before I even know it's gone. They watch every single thing we do. So I guess I would have to say the staff, but to me, it is so interrelated that if we work with our staff, our students, and the parents, it is so interwoven that that's where there's really going to be success. Many of you have probably dealt with this when there's friction between a teacher and a student. To me, it is absolutely has to be immediate to deal with, because the student is going home and hearing negative things because the parent is upset with them. And then when the student comes to school, their cortisol is going, they're rattled, their frontal lobe, their brain can't work properly because they're under stress. And they're worrying, who should I be listening to? Should I be listening to my parents? Should I be listening to my teacher? So immediately I bring the student and the staff member in and bring the parents in if I need to, like that day or the day after, because we can't have students being torn between the two. So it's a very difficult question, because you really, to have a thriving school and to have one where everybody is happy every day, that's our goal, right? To be happy, and every child needs to feel safe. So I have a whole thing on being happy and safe at school as well, because if they're happy and they feel safe and they know that you care for them, success is inevitable. And what I have as my first indicator of success is student attendance, because if students are happy to come to school, they're going to be there, and staff attendance. If the staff are taking stress leaves, or if the staff is getting sick a lot, to me, that is an indicator that I am not doing a good job and I need to do more to support them. Because I should be able to structure my building so all the staff members are happy to come to work. Kids feel it. You know, they have that sixth sense. They can feel stress coming out of an adult. And we all need to be at our best to have those 6.5 hours when the kids are with us to be most beneficial. Okay. Oh, how to guide or mentor teens. I'm so glad you asked this one. If you give them a job to do, I know it sounds crazy, but if they they need to feel like they are filling a niche for us. So for our grade 8s, how do I explain this? So I'm actually publishing a book, which will be on the website. But in the book, it explains exactly about grade 8 jobs, and that if you find, at least for one 40-minute block out of every week, a job that a grade 8 student can do, it will keep them engaged with school. So sometimes it might be helping in the lunchroom. Sometimes it may be going outside with the younger students, the primary students, and reffing a soccer game, or helping them organize a game that they're playing. It can be helping a teacher put up bulletin boards. It can be cutting out letters for a bulletin board. I have grade 7th and 8ths put everything together for me. I have them put the labels on their Tuesday folders. I get one of them to come in for a recess and sharpen pencils. So every Monday morning there are sharp pencils on every teacher's desk, because we don't need to waste time doing this in the classroom, sharpening pencils. So strategies like that. And the other thing I want to tell you with teenagers is giving them an opportunity to talk to you. So maybe it's developing the Healthy School Committee, but it's just with that age group, where they can sit at a table and know you're going to listen to them and just ask them for their input about the school. They always have ideas, but I find once I've given the student a job to do, then they feel empowered. They feel like they're being recognized for something. And let's face it, none of us want to go back to being 13 to 17 again. They are tough, tough years for our kids. And it's the same anywhere on the globe. When you're going through and you're not in control of your hormones, and the tears come or the laughter comes at inappropriate moments, It happens everywhere with kids, but if they know that we appreciate them for who they are and we find something for them to contribute, I think that's very helpful. Okay, I'm just seeing if there's any more. I'm seeing lots of thank yous, and thank you for joining me on a Sunday evening. I'm so thrilled that you were here.
Is there any question, please?
I don't see any more in the chat.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. There is no any question now. Now, after the keynote speech and question answer session, now it is time for all of us to listen the chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Bedkar, sir. So I request him to present his concluding words. Please, sir, welcome.
Thank you, Professor Karan, sir.
Welcome.
And today's resource person, I am audible, madam?
Yes, sir, you are
Marg,
on.
madam?
Yes?
Yes, thank you. And it's early morning, and also she joined, perfectly presented her PPT, and activeness of her experiences with the sub, her projects, her planning, her timetable, everything she was completely explained here. So for a better learning teaching process, these things are necessary. Also, there should be a close relationship with our staff members for the educational purpose. Everything she was cleared very perfectly and within a perfect time. Means at 7:45, she tried to finish. Means how she is punctual in the timing. She also joined before and she also tested her PPT. And she was in worry about from 2 days she was doing messages. I will join before 50. I will just share my PPT. So everything was very perfectly planned, and you are a best principal. You give so many thoughts to your colleague also, and you enlightened all the students also. We express thanks to you for sharing your knowledge in the field of education with us.
Thank you.
So thank you, madam.
Thank you.
In future also will be invited for the similar talk on education. Thank you, madam.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And thank you all people that joined me.
Now,
Beautiful.
at the end, I am here to present formal vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank today's honorable speaker, Marg, Dodds, ma'am, who has accepted the invitation of our college and enlightened us on the topic building relationships for a thriving school. The lecture was very descriptive, illustrative, and informative, and we, all of us, have got lot of tips how to develop relationships and how to make it useful for the development of students. So on behalf of the organizing committee of webinar series Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, I sincerely thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful guidance. And also I thank chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Bedkar, sir, who takes a lot of efforts to run this series. And also he inspires us to continue this series.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, express thanks to her husband also because he helped actively for the people.
He's got to come on the road with me. He's my technical supervisor.
Yes, because of
Yes.
you able to present. So I must thankful. We are all thankful to him also. Please express
Okay, I'll make
vote of
sure
thanks
that
to
he
him.
knows. Okay. thank you very, very much for spending this time with me. And if I can be,
I also thank
Go ahead. Oh, sorry, I thought Prakash was.
Saran sir, your
now
voice
I
is
request all the participants to fill feedback form so that they can have their certificates. Thanks to all. Thank you very much.
And thank you again. And I'd be happy to come back anytime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ma'am, thanks. We enjoyed the session. Thanks. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad you did. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
you are-
Very useful session, ma'am.
Ma'am, you are welcome to visit India.
Oh, I would love to come to India. I would love to.
Please visit South India also.
Yes.
When you come to India.
Oh, I would very much love to visit India. The closest I've been is I was in Sri Lanka, but I didn't get to India, and I would love to come. So,
If came India, you contact me. I will send information to Pratibha madam, who has invited you to visit South India.
oh, lovely. Okay. Watch out. I'm going to be knocking on your door.
Yes, ma'am, you are very much welcome. Please come.
Lovely. I would love to. Beautiful. Well, thank you once
Thanks, ma'am.
again.
Take rest, take your
Wonderful
breakfast, tea also. Yes. It's early morning, so take your tea, breakfast, all these things continuously.
Okay, I sure will. Okay, thank you. So is everyone waiting for me to leave so they can leave?
South Indian idli
You
dosa
can leave,
and
madam.
Okay. Okay.
You can
Well,
leave, madam.
have a wonderful week with all the people you work with. Have a wonderful week, and thank you. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks again.
Bye, madam. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.